Morning po. Morning po, tay.
Na quality assure na yung ating modules na i-deliver sa learners. Um, and so, please value the 3 days that you will be here with us, that you will be joining this virtual upskilling. Aside from the information you will be gathering, on the third day you will do the actual thing. You will quality assure some modules, some learning materials that your divisions have also passed to the regional office. So sasampalan natin yung mga ginawa ninyo. Baka ilan dito ay mga developers din. No? Sasampalan natin yung mga nagawa. Titignan natin kung talagang meeting the standard set yung mga nagawa nating materials. Okay, so make use of these 3 days, have a fruitful 3 day activity, and enjoy the rest of this day. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you po, Ma'am Carmel. So now we know the reason why we are all here, ano po? And of course, this webinar will not be completed without hearing any words from our mother or our father in the region. Ano po? So at this point, we're supposed to be having our mother, Ma'am Maybe Eklar, for the welcome remarks. However, maybe because of an equally important matter that she has to attend to, in behalf of her, may I call on our Assistant Regional Director, Sir Florante E. Vergara, to give us the welcome remarks and message as well. Sir Teng.
Thank you very much, Miss Jonah. No? The success of a mother is a good father, and vice versa. So I am here ready always to help and to assist. Of course, our regional director. On behalf of our regional director, I wish to congratulate and welcome you all to this wonderful webinar again for our FASI evaluators, learning resource evaluators. No, we inserted you in the RSP para kung evaluator kayo, meron naman kayong kumbiene kapag nakirank kayo for master teacher because in the past yung NEAP facilitator lang ang merong points. Kaya sabi ko, we will also include the learning resource evaluators and learning resource writers. Kaya maganda ang kahinatnan dahil na-include naman po kayo dito sa ating recruitment selection policy as part of the points when you would like to be promoted soon, no? So, of course, I would like to congratulate again the CLMD, no, for spearheading this activity through the chief, Dr. Carmel Meris and her team, the learning resource manager, LRMDS, Ma'am Rosita Agnasi, and her team also in the LR, and of course, to everyone, especially the participants all the way from Abra, Apayao, Tabuk, Mountain Province, Ifugao, Kalinga, Baguio, and Benguet, and other participants who are invited to this activity. Part of the message I would like to inform you is to try to, I do not know if I will be off tangent here, but I am very passionate in giving you some of my knowledge also, especially so in learning resource and in the self-learning modalities, self-learning modules, which we will evaluate later on. No, and there is again a call from the CI strand to submit. Uh, uh, I think October 30 and November 30, there was a post a while back from the strand of USEC DADS regarding the submission again of our modules, no, for quarter 3 ata and quarter 4. So be ready again for this activity. And I would like to share with you some of the tidbits part of my message. No, so uh, before I will start, I would like to remind you again of the rules, no, in attending webinars, which is part of the things we would like to uh, to emphasize when we attend webinars like this. Okay, so Jonah, I would like to present,
Yes po, sir. Yes po.
but I cannot see the presentation here in the.
Sir Warley. Sige, sir. Assistance coming, sir, from Sir Warley. So, while waiting for that, ayan,
Okay,
baka...
so because I have a very important thing to inform our evaluators. Okay. Okay. So can you see now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so kindly read the title of my message, Ma'am Jonah.
Modulation.
Huh?
Okay. Medyo
Self-modulation.
self-modulation, effective utilization of self-learning modules for quality education.
Okay, so before I'm going to start, this webinar is being recorded by the Secretariat. Please keep your microphones, speakers off until you turn to speak afterwards, no? And then when it's your time to speak, kindly adjust the volume so the group would be able to hear you clearly. You may opt to turn off your web camera if you are using a data net, no? For easy recognition, kindly introduce yourself afterwards during the activity. And for questions and clarifications, please leave a message in the chat box. No, so this is part of my message. And of course, when we speak of self-modulation as part of a very good evaluator, resource evaluator, means being self-aware enough to regulate, to adjust, to alter, to adapt one's behavior choices to better fit a situation. This is valuable lifelong skill for children or for learners. It feeds independence. And then, of course, in the new normal, we are trying to teach our children to practice decision making for themselves, not always spoon feeding. No? So I would like to brief you on the, of course, self-learning module. I know that you have been already exposed, but again, no, because of some of the questions raised while during our media uh, activity last week during our send-off program, there were a lot of questions by our media partners on the content of a self-learning module. That's why I am very passionate to also share with you, just if only to make sure that when the same thing is being asked of you, even if you are a uh, teacher or if you are a learning resource, you should be the first one to stand up front and explain how is a module done, what is a module, what are these activities contained in the module. So the focus point of my statement or my message is anchored, of course, on the CI memo number 162. I know that you know the CI memo. You must base also your part of your evaluation on curriculum instruction and memorandum 162, which is anchored on the order 21, the policy guidelines of the adoption of the K-12 transition curriculum framework for learners, which is for learners, no? And of course, as much as possible, uh, the primary learning resource that shall be used are the self-learning modules developed by the regions for the implementation of the alternative delivery modes. No, it shall be the foundation for conversion to various content formats, as but not limited to digital formats or flat PDF or ESLM, educational video, radio, and others. So these are things that you will evaluate and assess, no, during the course of your training. No, the digital format of the SLMs shall be uploaded also to the LR portal and the DepEd Commons. I hope that you as learning resource evaluators are also aware of how to get inside the DepEd Commons. Ako, pumapasok ako minsan dyan, nagkakwal lang ako, naglalagay lang ako. Siyempre, meron akong alam na mga student ID, ganun. Kaya nakakapasok din ako sa DepEd Commons. Okay. So self-learning module or SLM as the primary and ideal learning resource amid emergencies. No? So other learning resource materials like aligned teacher aid, video, audio lessons, module, activity sheets, interactive materials may supplement the required learning resource for each learning delivery modality. So gaya nitong English, no? O self-learning module. So when we say the self-learning module, it is actually a very when they ask you what is a module, how is it being differ from a textbook. So you can just answer, ang self-learning module ay parang teacher. Siya ang ma'am ko, siya ang nanay ko. Ginagabayan ako na kahit ako lang natututo kasi depende sa level yan. For example, in English, no? Self-contained. So in the alternative delivery modules or self-learning modules based on DepEd Order number 18/2020 or the policy guidelines for the provision of learning resources in the implementation of the basic education learning continuity plan, when we say SLM, it is self-contained. So pag himay-himay natin yan kung ibig sabihin ng self-contained, self-instructional, self-paced, and interactive learning resources for public schools intended for learning specific topic or lesson where the learner interacts actively with the instructional material. So, i-emphasize ko lang where the learner interacts actively with the instructional material, not the teacher. So, yun po dapat na isipin natin. And when we say we have some terms here, interactive, learner interacts actively with instructional material, self-contained, self-instructional, self-exploratory, self-paced, self-directed, self-motivational, and self-evaluating. Sometimes when we are being asked of this, hindi natin alam kung ano ang mga isasagot natin, kaya nararapat lang na explain ko na habang hindi pa nag-uumpisa ang class.
kailangang mag-modular yung bata kasi talagang hirap siyang mag-cope sa klase, no, doon sa classroom. So, yon. Pwede naman, no? May strategy tayo na pwede natin gawin. Okay? So, I think, yan, na-reach na po natin yung time natin. Anyway, we will have more discussions on that later, siguro as we go along with our presentation. Makaklarify po tayo on some issues and concerns regarding yung learning resource materials natin. Okay, so, ayan, since it's already 9:35, ayan, let us now proceed to the main, no, na session of this webinar, no. So for the first speaker, our first speaker will be speaking on, or will be sharing, or will be presenting to you this topic, LR as support to the implementation of quality distance learning modality. Okay, so at this point, let me call on our LR supervisor, Ma'am Rosita C. Agnasi, to share to us about this topic. Ma'am Rose? Ayan. So, Ma'am Rose, take it away.
Hello, everyone. Okay, off na. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Ma'am Jonah. And once again, good morning, everybody. So, how is everyone? A moment, kasi may ano. I-off na sa dito. Okay, hello. Just, okay na. So again, we would like to appreciate you, the presence of everyone, for responding the call or through Regional Memorandum 300. So I am seeing that there are 83 participants, and then we only expecting 60. So that means that you are devoted, or you are dedicated still to join, or you still want to be enhanced with the quality assurance of learning resources. So, starting, discuss some of the topic that I'm going to present, or some of the, so we'll just browse and then we will just go over on how are we going to quality assure. Remember that most of you have applied or qualified as the learning resource evaluators, and some are also developers. So, in response to the needs that we are going to develop other learning resources for our learners, especially with our situation this time, so we are still encouraged, and we are still enhance ourselves. Sa mga LRs, I believe that gas-gas na ito sa inyo, but we'll just be updated, or so that we are going to work hand in hand with our learning resource evaluator. So these are now the depth style guide in the specifications and developing learning resources. So some were discussed already by Sir Teng. So if we are going to evaluate, and if we are going to develop as well, these are the things that we are going to consider: the paper size, the margins, the font size, the page number, the page design, the typeface, the type size, text to art ratio, visual as well as illustrations. Though sometimes you can see that at our own artistry, but we are going to follow the standard, so that the materials that we are going to develop as well as what we are going to evaluate will be in accordance with the standard prescribed by our department. So these are now the elements. I will no longer mention that further because these were discussed by Sir Ping already. But I will just show you some examples. So on the front matter, which is the cover page, so this is now the first anatomy, we have here the resource title. The module learning area, those are very important, that is to be placed on the front cover. The cover these are to be included in the preliminary pages. So we have there the copyright notice, the heading, the publisher, as well as the copyright notice. And we also have the preface, the date of development, the resource location, learning area, grade level, learning resource type, the language, quarter and week, and the learning competency or the code. So to show you an example, this one. This is now the preface page of the locally developed module. Sa still ends, wala na ito. So we also have the acknowledgement, which is the list of the division LRMDS staff. So it is really a requirement that you are going to put all those LRMDS staff. And they are going to sign if it is printed. But for soft copy, hindi muna natin nire-require yun unless we are going to agree after this our workshop that we are going to accept electronics. So the reason why we are going to include also the chief, they are also responsible in quality assuring those resources that are developed in your own divisions. So for evaluators, we have to check on this before we are going to evaluate. And also we have there the table of contents. We will be discussing later what are the font size, the specifications, and how we are going to write the table of contents as well as the number of the font and the text. So this is now the second element that was presented by Sir Peng, the body inside page, wherein we have the introduction, the pre-assessment, and the lesson proper. To show you example, this is now the front. That is now the preliminary pages. Ito yung mga what I know. But take note that there should be no question mark if we are going to write those icons. So, sorry, I did not remove the question mark there. So, what's new, what's in, what is in, what's more, the activity as well as the assessment. Next, for the back matter, we have there the answer key, which is supposed to be upside down, the references, follows Chicago manual style, and the back outside cover, you have there the address, contact number, and the office of the management. So we come now to the specific details on the font size. So for document page setup, we have here now the page properties. We have here the custom used for print learning materials as well as teacher's guide. So for digital distribution, because in our situation this time, we are going to evaluate or we are going to send it through via digital. So these are now the sizes of the paper. For the margins, all the sides will be 1 inch, and there should be a gutter which is half inch or 0.5. For digital, there is no gutter. So that is how we set up our document for the page setup. We have there the verso or the left side page, the even numbered page, and the recto, which is the right side page, had numbered pages. So if we are going to print or printed, hindi magkapalit-palit yung mga pages. So we will put there the margins, the dimensions, or we will see the dimensions of the margins, which I mentioned that it will be 1 inch in all sides. That is now the gutter. There, so for kindergarten, so we are going to see according to the grade level of the learners who will be using our learning resources. So for kindergarten, the ideal page number will be 4. Grades 1 to 2 is 4. Grades 3 to 6 is 8 pages. And grades 7 to 12 will be 16 pages. The paper size are all A4. The format will be mirror margins. So mentioned, margins will be 1 inch in all sides. So for the design standards, so this is now a concrete example of the design standards and requirements. So you can see here that is now the lesson title or the resource title. The font size or font type will be serif or sans serif and boldface. The font size will be 35 to 45 point, depending on the number of the words, and it will not be capitalized, only the beginning of the letter. And the position, center, top part of the cover art. For the subject area, that is now the subject area, so module in grade 7. So subject area, grade level. We are going to indicate here the grade level. For SLMs, nandito yung grade level. Kaya nandiyan yung 7 naman natin dyan with cover background. So for cover art, font type, it's not applicable. The position will be at the center. Ito yung cover art. The name of the developer, ito. And we have now the DepEd identifier. Cordillera Administrative Video as a Department of Education, that and the Cordillera Administrative Video. The font size will be 14 points. Next. On the back outside cover, we have also there the feedback note. The font type will be Arial. The font size will be 12. So if we are going to quality assure this through soft copy, it will be very easy for us because we can see the font type. But if it is printed, we cannot distinguish if the font size as well as the font type is really within the standard. So we have there the logo and name of donor in case
Kaman ay tiyo gamin eh. Kaman.
heads will be 15 to 24. Subheads is 11 to 13 points. Sometimes we are economizing the pages. So there were some queries nga, mabalin ba nga we are going to adjust so that we are going to lessen the number of pages, but it does not meet the standard. So the purpose there is for the learners to clearly understand really the texts that are present in our learning resources or in our module. So other specifications which are not indicated here, the leading space shall be points. No overprinting or double printing. Answer key shall be upside down and be on 9 points. Maliit na siya. Page number shall be centered at the bottom of the page. And no just one word on paragraph endings. Inside pages shall be 1082 be in Arabic numerals. So pages shall be all the same length, and the last page of the manuscript shall occupy at least half of the text area. There. So these are now the serif family. Kaya kung minsan, if you're going to open your computer or your desktop or your laptop, it depends on the edition of the desktop. Bakit wala itong serif? So we can have here the family. Kung wala ang mga century school book, you can have Bookman, Garamond, Cambria, Palatino, and many more because they are almost the same or they are very near with each other. For the family of sans serif, ito naman, pwede yung mga Arial, Helvetica, Comic Sans. So these are now the recommended fonts for learning resources. So design standards and requirements for paper binding, pero soft copy na. But if you're going to bind those printed materials, these are now for paper thickness 70 to 80 GSM. Ito naman yung nakukuha sa BBN na bond paper. So pasado dyan. Binding staple with PVC or duct tape. Cover acetate or plastic folder. And then inside, one color per 4 colors. So digital file management shall be included using Microsoft Word at least version 97 to 2003. There shall be one digital file per module or learning competencies. Each module shall file by name, file as docs and PDF files. Kaya yung nanggagaling sa central office that are being returned to us or ready to print are in PDF files. So we cannot edit that anymore. Next, so this is for SLMs. Because there were some participants who are writers and developers for the SLMs. So we have here now the background color for the cover, so we could easily distinguish if what is the learning area of the learning resources according to the color. So for English will be blue, Filipino, science, that is not the color, mathematics, green, araling panlipunan, red, edukasyon sa pagpapakatao, brown, music and arts, canary, yellow, physical education and health, bakit light yellow, hindi naman Yellow, yeah, that should be, yes, that's light yellow. MTB, no color, and EPP is violet. So we will end here, and then since you are also an evaluators, we will be learning on how we are going to evaluate, considering all those considerations or considering those standards as well as specifications in the learning materials or in the modules that we are going to evaluate. So we will end here because some were already discussed by Sir. So Ma'am Jonah, I'm done with the first presentation.
Hello po. Ma'am Rose, thank you for that sharing. Ayan, but we have po clarifications from our participants, Sir Sidney Carino from Baguio City. Ayan.
Ma'am Jonah, malakas ang echo. Baka
Ayan po, ma'am. Ito.
may dalawang naka-on dyan.
Ayan.
Okay na.
Hello, Ma'am Rose.
Yes, ma'am. Okay na, ma'am.
Okay. So, ayan. May question po tayo, ma'am, clarification. From Sir Sidney po. Ayan. Ano yung question ni Sir kanina? We have here, is what's in it or what is it po? Ano daw po, ma'am? What is it or what's in it?
What's in sa motivation part. And then what's new sa introduction part. And then what is it sa brief discussion.
Ayan. So Sir Sidney, yeah. So Sir Sidney, medyo kasi may mga nakikita ako, ma'am, na ganito dun sa lesson proper, it's supposed to be what is it. Ano po? Kasi may nakikita ako na what's in it.
Yeah.
Sir Sidney? Oo. So, let us be correct po na the term is supposed to be what is it. Yes po. Yung what's in po is that's on the
motivation part.
Motivation part.
What's in?
Yeah, yes. What's in is motivation part siya. Okay na tayo dun, Sir Sidney. Okay, another question from Flor de Liza. Do we also have a separate standards and requirements for the modules of non-graded learners or learners with disabilities? Okay, or LSENS natin, or are we to follow the standards for K-3? Ma'am Rose?
For learners with special needs, iba na. These were the topic discussed by Ma'am Denia on the webinar that she has been conducting, ma'am.
Okay, so...
Ma'am Denia, andyan ka ata?
Ma'am Denia, are you here?
Hello, good morning. Naririnig ako?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Sis Rose, we have been following the standards indicated in the Regional Memorandum 91. So, ito nga yung query ko rin sa iyo noon. However, for us to answer also, yung query din ng field, since we do have one standards for modules or SLMs, we based it on Regional Memo 91. So, for level 1, which is the ang level ng mga bata na ito ay prep, in base me ijay standard for kinder to grade 1. That is for level 1. And for level 2, we based it sa standard ng yung K-stage 2. Oo. And then for level 3, we based it on the standard of grade 5 until senior high school. But my concern more on this is that even if these learners are in level 2 and level 3, still some can't distinguish yet. Dito nga, especially letter A, kasi ang question ti ubing apay baliktad kunada. Kasi for case stage 1, na ang letter A ang ginagamit natin ay Century Gothic, napakadaling i-distinguish na mga bata yun. However, if we change it to Arial, medyo baliktad na yung letter A. So, sometimes these learners are confused. Ayun. However, as to the standards, doon pa rin kami sa Regional Memo 91. Kasi talagang kung titingnan natin, wala naman talagang nasabi na standard din for learners with disabilities. So nakiki-ride on din kami kung ano po yung na ibibigay po sa atin na mga standards regarding LR matters. Iyon po.
Thank you, Sis Dana. So, Ma'am Jonah, back to you. Medyo nagka-net glitches dito.
Diyan or dito? Baka ako.
Hindi, okay na kami dito sa ano.
Okay. Sige.
Okay, so thank you po, Ma'am Denya. So we hope na na-answer po yung question ni Ma'am Flor de Lisa. Okay? So another question po from Sir Sid again. To save space for module printing, there is a plan to print in booklet type. So di na rin po pwede yun kasi it will no longer follow the standards such as the font size. Yes po, tama yun sir, nasagot mo na rin. Okay? So, ayan kasi may in-observe po tayo na font size, no po? Okay. So, another question. Ito po. Hello, ma'am. How will the assigned color per learning area be applied if we are reproducing it through RISO or yung ating photocopier? Ayan, definitely, hindi na po siya mapapalo. Ano po? Ayan. But of course, once na colored po yung na-request sa atin, we see to it po na we follow the color coding. Ano po? Okay.
Yes, Ma'am Jonah, may I come in there? Yeah, we really find that out that there are some other studios for printing black and white. So we are defeating the purpose. That is why the developers are making use of colors. So as much as possible, if there is really a possibility to find a way that we are going to print it colored, because it will help the learners, especially sa lower grades, I should say. Thank you po.
Okay, so we have here another question from Sir Peter. Good morning, ma'am. May mga modules po kasi na may mga suggested recipe. Paano po yun, ma'am, if they perform the task? Wala naman po silang gagamiting oven, if ever man na baking ang gagawin sa recipe. Okay, so I think the question is for me, Sir Peter. Ayan. Ito sa TLE, alam ko. Ito yung isa na talagang napapaisip tayo kung paano nga ba yung performance tasks sa TLE, no? Especially doon sa baking part. I think sa baking, wala tayong problema kasi if we are to apply the concept, pwede natin siyang i-contextualize. Ano po? Sa konteksto ng bata, depende sa available resources na meron siya sa bahay. Like for example, for yeast bread, okay, the process, yung performance standard natin is for them to be able to bake. Ano po? Now, paano natin siya gagawin na walang oven? Ang importante doon, sir, is the process. Kung paano siya gagawa ng yeast bread, pwede po natin siyang gawin not necessarily using an oven. Like for example, di ba? Yung concept ng yeast bread making, like for example, pandesal is supposed to be baked, right? Pero yung proseso ni pandesal, pwede natin siyang gawin kay Long John, na instead of baked siya, ang gagawin natin ay fried. Okay? So, the same concept, iba nga lang yung ginamit natin. Kasi, so ilalagay mo siya doon as condition doon sa ating performance task na if you have oven, you make use of oven, following the proper procedure in making oven, but if not, then they have to fry it. Or pwede naman na siopaw, di ba? Instead of frying it, boil it. So the concept of having that yeast bread, the same siya, di ba? Kasi yung fermentation part naman ang tinitignan natin doon. Okay, sir? So pwede yun, no? Bibigyan natin ng maraming conditions yung ating students, depende po doon sa nakikita natin na resources that they have at home. So we expect the list, ano po, na siguro malamang ilan lang yung mayroong oven sa bahay. And then, yung kung paano natin siya ipapacheck, no? We ask the parents, no? To make use of the rubrics and to have reaction doon sa output ng bata. If not the parent, the siblings, no? So nasa kanila na yun kung naging dishonest yung parent doon, no, na nagbigay ng comment or rating doon sa output ng bata. So yun, very important na kukunin natin yung reaction ni parent, comments niya doon sa output ng learner na na-evaluate niya. So dito, ang mag-evaluate na is si parent na or yung kanyang siblings, kung may siblings siya. I-rate nila yung output niya based doon sa rubrics, and that's the time naman na gagawa niya ng reaction. Gagawa rin ng reaction yung bata. So dapat meron tayo doon, numeric part, at meron din yung part na makikita din natin para nagkaroon ng reflection yung bata doon sa output niya or doon sa process. Okay, that's how we check yung performance task natin sa PLE, no? Okay? So, Sir Peter, okay na po ba tayo doon? Did I give you good suggestions? Okay? So, ayan. Ito, ang tanong ulit for TLE, marami kasi we know talaga na ang hirap yung ating Okay, another. Regarding the pre-assessment, it says po dito sa RO91 that if a learner got 100%, skip the module, will this mean they will no longer finish the module? Ma'am Rose, this is for you. Para iba naman.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ma'am Shalima, for the question. It's good that you brought that out. In the presentation of certain acquired back, we presented this, and in our RO91, we have this. So this means that the learners already will verse with the well or with the competency that is present within that module. So if that is the case, then they are no longer to perform the activity. But we have been always considering those learners which we consider slow before, that we are giving them interventions. How about for these fast learners who are able to master the competency that is within the module? So this is also not the initiative of the teacher, because you know more of your learners, that you have also to provide activities that will also enhance their skills. So dito na papasok yung mga activity sheets or other learning resources who will not be answering that module already, because it's understood that they mastered already that competency. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ma'am Rose. So another question pa rin sa TLE pa rin to, related, no? Another concern. What about other areas of TLE, just like carpentry and garment trades or dressmaking or tailoring, or isama ko na yung ICT kasi may question din siya about ICT kung paano daw yung part na yon. Oo, kasi talagang kailangan natin talaga yung performance tasks, okay, using rubrics, kasi ito ay para naman naka-align siya doon sa ating performance standard. So since skill-based ito sa TLE, paano natin siya gagawin this time? I remember one time it was already it was raised na in one of our sessions before, ICT din siya. Paano daw? Kasi nga naman sa bahay, hindi lahat ay merong computer sa bahay. Like for example, sa CSS, nagagawa sila, po. Kung assembly at saka disassembly, madali lang siya. Pero kung siguro doon sa other parts, like they have to make something, yun yung mahirap. However, ang gagawin na lang natin siya is parang situational analysis na lang siya, or magkakaroon tayo ng picture analysis. So if not picture, situational analysis na lang, Or dito, di ba, we make use of our USB, ganon, or if not video kung meron man, no, kung kaya ng bata. Through USB, ang gagawin ni teacher, i-analyze na lang ni learner yung performance task. Instead of the learner performing something, ang gagawin ni teacher, magpo-perform siya ng 2 or 3 scenario. At i-analyze ni bata, ng learner, kung alin doon yung tama na na-perform ni teacher. So, ganun na lang siya, no? Para makita rin ng learner yung proseso na ginawa ni teacher. Kasi nga hindi kayang gawin ng bata. Ang tinitignan lang naman natin dito is paano niya i-analyze na tama ba yung ating proseso, no? Yung pagkaintindi niya doon sa concept. So ngayon, ang gagawin ni teacher, gagawa siya ng video niya or demo or simulation niya. One is the correct, one is medyo may konting aberya, yung isa naman is talagang totally na iba siya. So i-analyze yun ng learner. Alin doon sa proseso na ginawa ni teacher ang tama. Okay, like sabihin natin, situation A. Okay, what can you say with that process na pinakita ni teacher? Is it the correct one? And then, sasabihin niya kung bakit. Okay, so ganun din sa situation 2, ito yung medyo may aberya ng konti, at aaralin ni bata kung alin doon na proseso ang may mali, at ano dapat ang gawin ni teacher. Parang ganun na lang siya kasi hindi na natin kayang ipagawa yun dahil na yung limited resources ng ating mga learners. So, that way, no? So, yung ating performance rubric, magbabago rin siya. Instead na yung performance niya, yung analysis niya na lang ang gagawin natin ng rubrics. Ano po? So, yun lang siya. The same with carpentry, ganun. So, yun nga lang talaga mag-i-effort si teacher, no? Hopefully na meron tayong USB sa bahay na may OTG na pwede i-connect siya din sa TV, ganun, or a video na pwede natin isend sa bata kung depende sa available resources na meron siya. O baka pwede makipanood siya doon sa kapitbahay na may TV, having that, observing pa rin yung distancing. Ganun na lang po ang gawin natin kasi talagang we cannot do but of course to make use of all the possible resources, all the way na we can do, no? Means na pwede natin gawin. Okay, para lang masatisfy natin yung performance at saka content standard. Okay, so ganun din, no, sa carpentry, mag-situational or picture analysis din siya, even sa masonry, yung assembling ng hollow blocks and all, alin dito ang tama at mali, ganun din siya. Okay, so yun na lang po on the part of TLE. Okay, so the same din na with cookery and all other natin. So more of TLE yung maraming tanong na po. Ayan, do we have more questions? And I'm looking at our time hanggang 10:30 supposedly itong topic ni ma'am. Kaya we are still open for although it's supposed to be yung open forum natin is after 11:31. But looking at the time, we still have naman time. Okay? Ayan. So, okay, more questions. This is in reference to the question of Ma'am Shalimar on the 100% skip the module. A comment of the National Evaluator about our pretest questions on our EDM modules is that since there is this condition of skipping the module, the questions or tasks on the pretest should not only cater the literal level of comprehension. Higher level of comprehension should also be included, targeting the influential and evaluative levels as well. Dapat di daw po masyadong madali yung pretest. Okay, Ma'am Rose?
This is in reference to the question of Ma'am Shalimar on 100% module. A comment on the National Evaluator about our previous questions on our EDA modules is that since this condition of skipping the module, the question task on the pretest should not only cater the literal level of comprehension, higher level of comprehension should also be there included, targeted in the influential and evaluative levels as well. Dapat di daw po masyadong madali yung pretest. Yes, that is why the developers, you have also to consider the easy, average, and difficult in the preparing of pretest. So the tests that you are going to prepare for the pretest should answer or should for the attainment of our objectives. Kaya dapat hindi madali. Kaya nasa developer din yan.
Okay, yes po. In addition to that, di ba yung ating kasing yung ating assessment is dapat naka-align siya with the ating objectives. Ano po? So we have there yung ating content at saka yung ating psychomotor. So with that, we consider also yung varied types of learners na merong anong tawag doon, low, average, at saka high level of learners natin, no? So yun yung isa natin kailangan i-consider. Plus of course, yung higher order thinking skills, remember? Ayan, kaya ito yung na-observe na ko more often doon sa, usually doon sa aking sa pag nag-QA ako sa TLE, nakikita ko itong sa assessment, ito lagi yung hindi nawawala sa comment part ko, no? Ano yung nilalagay ko doon? Ano to? Use varied levels of assessment. Yun yung laging hindi nawawala sa comment ko, no, na part. Kasi yung mga questions nila doon, it's more of cognitive. So how about naman doon sa psychomotor na part? Like for example, on performance, remember na naka-align pa rin tayo doon sa content at saka doon sa ating performance standard. Okay? So yun po yung ating varied levels of assessment natin. Okay? So yun lang. Do we have more questions? Ayan. Okay. Meron pa po ba tayong tanong? Ayan. Mukhang wala na, no? Okay. So we now move. Kung wala na. Okay. We now move to the second topic, no? So as you can see in our program, we have here the tools and standards for quality assurance of printed learners or printed learning resources. Okay, so at this point, let me now call on Ma'am Elizabeth Calbayan to share to us something on this topic. Okay, Ma'am Sabeth. Okay, are you here? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Preparing kasi may kami, putol-putol lang net namin dito sa
okay. Okay. Ayan, let's wait for a moment. Okay. Please don't forget po to fill up our attendance sheet. Okay. Okay. Reminder po ulit bago mag-proceed si Ma'am Elizabeth, please check on our mic or video buttons. Baka naka-unmute po siya. Please, paki-mute po yung ating mic. So, Ma'am Nobilin po, Ma'am Basilio, paki-off po yung ating mic. Yes, Ma'am Basilio. Ayan. So, thank you po. Okay, so we now move to our second presenter, Ma'am Sabeth.
Hello, good morning po sa ating lahat. Pasensya po at medyo nawala yung internet namin kanina. And this is it. Ito na yung ating pag-uusapan. Ang pinaka-importante, the reason why we are here. So, this is the evaluation tool na galing sa central office that we will be using in evaluating locally developed materials. Hindi lang po modules, but including other resources such as workbooks, activity sheets, worksheets, workbooks, storybooks, ano pa ba, interactive learning materials. So, expect na pag nagbago ng ating situation, pag naging normal na, hindi lang po module ang ating i-evaluate as regional learning resource evaluators. We are top by the region and expect din na madami po tayong resources na i-evaluate galing sa other divisions from the 8 divisions of the region. So this is the evaluation tool, sabi ko nga kanina, from the central office. We have 5 actually, but for the regional evaluation, we will only be using this 7.6 evaluation tool for the print resources and the 7.8 for the non-print resources. Print resources, ito yung mga materials na piniprint natin like modules, activity sheets. For the non-print, yun yung mga materials na mostly are interactive, naka-PowerPoint or in other formats like videos or audio scripts, mga ganun. So, ito yung naka-word na evaluation tool. We are to check yung mga rubrics na ito if the material satisfies our evaluation. Ang ating pag-evaluate, ng ating how do we see the material. We have here the instruction, examine the material carefully, and for each evaluation criterion, consider the extent to which the resource meets the criteria. So we have very satisfactory, poor, and not satisfactory. For a rating of below 4, write your comments, justifications on each evaluation criterion. If an evaluation criterion is not applicable, the material is rated 3 on the said criterion. Attach extra sheets if necessary. Your report may be completed in soft or hard copy. This right rigidly. So ayan, we have here the instruction. Pero mahirap natin itong gamitin na tool through online because today we are expected na mag-evaluate ng materials online. That's why the LR created a material na mas madali nating gamitin in Excel format. Ito siya. Mas madali ito because we will just check kung pumasa ba sa ating pag-evaluate yung material. By the way, I am just showing to you this tool. Mamaya, isa-isahin natin kung ano ba yung mga i-evaluate natin, like the content per se. In using this tool, we should first write the title. Ayan, ito siya, the author, the copywriter, nasa module din yon. Number of pages, the subject, it belongs, the grade level. Sulat lang natin ito. Like that. Grade 5. Sulat lang po natin. And let us check if the material is for elementary or high school. Same lang ito doon sa pinakita ko kanina na naka-word. We just transport it in an Excel format para during this time na online ang ating pag-evaluate, mas madali sa atin. We just click and then automatically magko-compute din po. So, example natin itong factor 1 on the content. Yung sabi ko nga kanina, the instruction is already written here sa ating pag-evaluate and sa ating pag-evaluate, are we very satisfied with the content? Satisfactory lang ba ang ating rating or poor? We just click it here kung ano yung rating natin sa material. So let's try for the factor 1. Sample natin ito. Is the content suitable to the student's level of development? If ang ating pag-evaluate is very satisfactory, na meet yung criteria na ito, we just check this column. This is very satisfactory na for ang kanyang rating. If this is okay na, let's proceed to number 2. Materials contributes to the achievement of specific objectives of the subject area or grade level for which it is intended. If the material is, for example lang for grade 4, pero yung content the objectives is parang hindi siya match, and in our perception or in our evaluation process, parang hindi niya na-meet. So, poor, we can score na siya na poor. Kaya we are selected because we believe that you are experts in your learning areas. And for the number three, if we see the material to meet the higher cognitive skills or the higher skills or their skills of thinking, then i-rate natin siya na very satisfactory. Pero pag naisip na evaluate natin na medyo hindi siya very satisfactory, we can always score it as 3 satisfactory lang. And so on and so on. Ayan. Pag nakikita natin, may column dito na automatically scoring the material. And dito sa part na ito, automatic din yung kanyang pag-compute. Kaya pag makikita natin na pag nag-fail yung material, hindi na tayo mag-proceed to the factor 2. Balik ka agad for redevelopment. Pag nagpas naman yung material, automatic siyang nag-green. Sabi dito, for the factor 1, resource must score at least 21 points out of the maximum 28 points to pass this criterion. Please put a check mark on the appropriate pass. Ay, wala yun. Wala itong part na to. Sorry for that. Ayan. Para ito yung gamitin niyo. Ayan. The first factor is about the content. The second factor is on the format. Ito yung diniscuss ni Ma'am Rosita kanina on the standards, like the font size, font style. If the size is met, check lamang natin ito. Or if you have suggestions na mas maganda ang font na iba, you can write sa material or on the last part of this evaluation tool. We have the preamp, yung sizes, the illustrations. In evaluating the illustrations, what we will be checking on this is the appropriateness. Appropriate ba yung inilagay na illustration sa text na inilagay sa content ng material? Yung pagka-layout niya, hindi ba siya masyadong malaki, hindi ba siya masyadong maliit? Nakikita ba? The color? And this part is important again, the culturally relevant. Yung nilagay ba na illustration na may cultural touch para masabi natin contextualize siya is appropriate. Pag hindi, don't hesitate na ilagay natin na poor siya. Huwag tayong maglagay ng poor kung talaga namang poor or not satisfactory yung inilagay nila na illustration. Okay. Size and weight of resource. Ito rin yung isa nating i-consider, the size and weight of the resource. Masyado bang makapal yung module or masyadong kaunti? Pag masyadong makapal and you are not satisfied, score it 2. I-click lamang yung rectangle na ito and automatic siyang magko-complete. On this part, on the format, the resource must score at least 54 points out of maximum 72 points to pass this criterion. Pag hindi siya pumasa, balik sa developer. And the factor 3 of the evaluation tool is the presentation and organization. This is the layout part. Is the presentation engaging and interesting or understandable? Pag hindi masyadong maintindihan, lalo na pag sa grade level na nilagay, then score it poor or not satisfactory. Pag okay naman yung material, score it as 3. Isa din palang consideration natin pag ginagamit natin yung material na ito, isa lang na box ang dapat i-click natin para yun lang yung score na mababasa ng ating computer. Organization is there is a logical or smooth flow of ideas. Meron bang connection yung nilagay sa lesson 1 sa lesson 2? Or meron bang connection yung activity 1 sa activity 2? Pag meron, then score it as 4. Pag wala namang connection yung mga activities or yung mga binibigay na topic sa binigay na activity, scorean natin siya ng either not satisfactory or poor. In this factor then, vocabulary level is adapted to target readers. For example, pag yung grade 1 module ang binigay sa atin na i-evaluate, pero yung ginamit na words is for higher grades, either i-comment natin sa material or i-comment natin dito sa last part na the vocabulary should be appropriate and score it as poor or not satisfactory. Pero pag na-meet naman yung vocabulary level sa grade level na tinatarget natin, then score it as and not satisfactory. Pero pag nakita naman natin na okay naman yung sentence, may minor revisions lang, we can score it as satisfactory and ilagay lang natin yung comment sa material. In this factor, sa factor 3 na presentation and organization, the learning resource must score 15 out of the maximum 20 points to pass this criterion. Pag 16 siya, pasok siya. Pag 14, bagsak siya. Pero pag tiningnan natin na pwedeng taasan pa para maging okay naman yung material. Kung minor lang naman yung issue or yung error, pwede naman nating taasan yung score para hindi siya mag-fail and ilagay na lang natin yung comment sa material para hindi na babalik sa developer for redevelopment. The last factor for this tool is the factor 4. Ito yung accuracy and up-to-dateness of information. Yung material ba is, the example written ba in the material is 5 years old for the last 5 years? Or masyado nang matagal yung material na hindi na nakaka-relate yung pupil or yung learner natin. Pag ganun yung situation, medyo mababa yung ating score. Obsolete ba yung information na nilagay? Pag obsolete, medyo talagang siguro magpo-fall siya into 2 or 1 depending on your pag-evaluate, on your perception. Sa part na to, medyo mahirap ito kasi this part should be perfect. Sabi dito, at least 24 points out of maximum 24 points should be scored to pass this criterion. Pag may isang na-scorean natin na 3, siguradong fail ito and ibabalik natin sa writer for the development. Itong part na ito na factor 4 ang medyo macha-challenge tayo. Because this part contains the conceptual errors, the factual errors, grammatical, computational, obsolete information. Pag isa dito ang na-scorean and if we scored it 3 here, dapat maglagay tayo ng comments sa either sa material
Hello, I'm back. Good morning. Ayan, medyo ano ba nag-aberya yung aming mga... Ayan, pasensya po no. For some technical glitches, mukhang mahina ang signal ngayon sa LR kasi pati si Ma'am Rose na wala po siya, ano. Ayan, but anyway, we shall proceed. Meron po ako nakikita na question natin sa ating chat pane, no? So from Sir Sydney again, you have on factor 4, dapat po must score 24. Wala na po dapat yung at least. Yun. Oo, kasi nakakalito, no? So definite na must not score or must score 24 points. Okay? Ayan. Thank you, Sir Sydney. Ayan. Meron pa po ba tayong question? Okay lang po while waiting. Ayan. Andito na si Ma'am Sabeth. Ma'am Sabeth, you're back.
Yes, ma'am. Asan na ako, ma'am?
Oh, anyway, it's okay. Ayan. Si mga participants natin, please fill up our attendance link. Posted po siya sa ating chatting. Okay, hintayin natin si Ma'am Sabeth. Ipipresent lang niya yung kanyang presentation. Okay?
Ma'am Jonas, saan po nag-stop?
I think it's on factor 4. Tama ba?
Okay. Okay po.
Sige, it's okay. Take time.
Ito na
Ayan.
yung factor 4.
Sige.
Ayan. Sabi ko nga kanina, dapat perfect score para mag-proceed tayo. At para masabi natin pass yung learning resource. Pag mali-mali yung grammar, lalo na pag madaming...
Ma'am Sabeth,
Yes po.
Pwedeng present mo muna.
Ay, wala ba? Ay, sorry. Ay, oo nga.
Hindi ka makarelate. Sige, okay. Sige. Ayan, may tanong ulit tayo dito. Okay. Ayan, do we pass a module po if the module passed in some factors and failed in some? Sige, sasagutin po yan mamaya ni Ma'am Sabeth. Ano po? Okay? Ayan. Ma'am Marivic. Wait po natin si Ma'am Sabeth.
Pag sagutin ko na, Ma'am Joanna.
Okay.
Habang nagpe-present yung kwan. Pag nag-fail yung isang factor, automatic po siyang for redevelopment. Pag may isang factor nag-fail, ayun, ibabalik natin sa writer para i-correct yung mga major. Pero pag minor na pwede naman nating i-correct na natin para mabilis yung paggamit natin ng material. Pero pag major talaga yung concern and bumagsak siya dito sa tool, ibabalik natin yung material. Ayan. Factor 4. Ito. I hope na nakikita na natin. And sabi ko nga kanina, this should score perfect 24 points para mag-pass yung material. Pag may grammatical errors na minor lang, pwede nating i-correct. Pero pag major na grammatical errors and obsolete yung inilagay na information, talagang siguro the material needs improvement and we will return it for redevelopment sa writer. And after all the scoring, rating ng ating tool, pag may mga comments tayo, ilagay lang natin dito na column. Other comments. Pag madami, okay lang, mag-extend lang po tayo, i-drag lang po natin yun, and ilagay natin lahat yung comments natin. If gusto din naman nating ilagay sa material yung comments natin, pwede din naman po. For example, if this is the material na ini-evaluate natin and we have observed na may mali dito sa cover art, add text lang po tayo para sa ating comment. Ilagay lang po natin dito ang ating comments. Ganun po. The quarter should be in quarter 2, like that. Ganun po ang ating pag-evaluate online pag hindi natin isusulat sa material yung ating comments and recommendations. Hindi naman necessary na pag yung nilagay natin sa material is ilalagay natin dito sa comment section. Siguro summarize lang. Kung gustong-gusto din naman natin ilagay lahat, pwede din naman po. And ito na, to summarize, i-check lang natin kung we will be recommending the material for approval, for reproduction, i-check lamang natin ito. Pero pag madaming major concerns and recommendations na na-observe natin, na na-evaluate natin, then we will check this column. We do not recommend the approval of this material for possible use in the public schools for the reasons stated below or cited in this evaluation report. Ito siya. May dalawa lang po tayong option. Either we recommend it for approval na may gamit na yung material, or we recommend the material for more improvement, for redevelopment. And then, as a certification that we have conducted an evaluation, ilagay natin yung pangalan natin dito sa part na to and our signature, electronic signature. And ayan, ito na nga yung sinasabi kong final say natin sa material. Check lamang natin kung ano yung recommendation natin. Is it for redevelopment or for reproduction? Isa lamang po ang ating ito-check. Hindi dapat dalawa. Pag may mga questions po tayo, ilagay lang po natin sa chat box. Ayan, this is for the print. Evaluation for the print. Ito namang 7.8 is for the non-print resources like PowerPoints, interactive learning resources, materials, mga videos. So this 7.8 na evaluation tool ang ating gagamitin. Ang content is almost same dun sa 7.6. Ang ating pag-evaluate is same din. Just check. And ayan na. Tapos na tayo sa evaluation. Evaluation tool. Ito yung tool natin. Naka-Excel format po siya. Automatic ang computation. And automatic siyang magsasabi kung pass or fail yung material. Sa ating pag-evaluate as regional learning resource evaluators, our focus is on the content. Kung marunong po tayong mag-evaluate ng format, okay lang. Pero ang agreement namin dito is you can leave the format factor 2 as blank para kami na sa LR ang mag-evaluate. But if you think na kayang-kaya niyong i-evaluate yung mga itong factor na to, pwede din naman po i-evaluate na rin yung luma and slip. So, this is for the print 7.6 and 7.8 for the non-print. As to the details, kung ano yung content na i-evaluate natin, I will be sharing to you the presentation from the central office na pinresent sa ating mga kasamahan sa LR, our PDOs. This is the guide in quality assuring the content of DepEd developed learning resources. Na-present po ito noong last 2018 at or 2019 by the DepEd Bureau of Learning Resources, the DepEd BLR, kung saan po naka-anchor ang ating LRMDS. Sila, the BLR, sila yung nagbigay sa atin ng evaluation tool na ating ginagamit sa pag-evaluate ng ating locally developed learning resources. So, let us first define kung ano nga ba itong learning resources na ini-evaluate natin. Sa ngayon, most of the submitted modules na kailangan natin i-evaluate, most of the submitted LRs na ini-evaluate natin for ganun time is the modules, the SLMs na sinasabi ni Sir Teng kanina. But there are other learning resources na ini-evaluate natin na soon siguro makikita natin like storybooks, yung sinabi ko kanina, activity sheets, and other print and non-print materials. Even devices, tools, equipment, and other media aligned with the K-12 curriculum used as primary basis or as supplement to teaching and learning processes. So ayan, aside from the modules, soon, siguro may magsasubmit ng teacher's guide or teacher manuals na pwede din nating i-evaluate. Expect that na hindi lang module po ang ating i-evaluate soon. So, sa pag-quality assure ng ating material, specifically on the content part, these are the things that we should look for. These are the central office standards of the learning resources. The first one is the compliance with the learning competencies and accuracy of content. Is the learning material, the learning competency accurate? Accurate ba yung nilagay na content or copy-paste? Is it copy-paste or freshness of information? Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na may tool for this, the obsolete information. Fresh na fresh ba yung nilagay na example or yung activity or the illustrations? What if 100 years old na yung information pero nilagay that those things are needed para sa atin na i-evaluate. In this situation, in this scenario, okay ba as evaluators, for example, merong material na nasubmit for grade 10 and yung nilagay na example is sa AP, okay lang ba yung information is nilagay is 50 years ago? Yes, okay siya because usually sa AP, it's about history. Pero pag ang subject natin is on the current events, dapat yun yung i-check natin na information. The freshness, dapat yung nilagay din na activity or the content is fresh as of the current events. Pag old na siya at hindi siya pasok sa ating tinuturo or nilagay sa material na kailangan, mababa yung pag-score natin dun or pag-evaluate natin. Or we should recommend na give or provide current information na nababagay sa sitwasyong ito. Format, presentation, and organization. Are the organization of thoughts or the ideas congruent to each other? Or is it synchronized to each other? Yung mga activities, yung mga topics na nilagay, the lessons? Pag hindi, as evaluator, we should look into that. We recommend that the information should be organized and others. Language. Sa mother tongue. Pag sa Baguio, ang ginagamit natin is English, pero may mga hindi masyadong marunong mag-English, is that appropriate for us as evaluators? Yun yung mga factors na kailangan natin i-check. Nasa sayo yung rating or pag-score ng material if nasa sa atin. If it fits the area, the subject, the grade level, the pupils, yun po yung i-check natin as evaluators. Social content. And the copyright concerns. Yung kinopy-paste ba na idea or the illustration is properly cited sa ating references? Pag hindi, we recommend it na dapat the information or the illustration used should be properly cited. So there are 8 guideposts in assuring content quality. This is from the standards of the central office. These are the integrity and consistency, organization, accuracy and recency, appropriateness, sensitivity, comprehensiveness, balance, readability, and presentation. Parang paulit-ulit lang, no? But this is how it goes sa ating pag-evaluate. Lit Ayan. Integrity and consistency. Thus, the material reflect the philosophy of the K-12 or the MELC curriculum and the goals of the subject area in the curriculum. Pag ang sagot natin dito is yes, then pasado yung material. But if our answer to this is no, hindi lang po sana no ang ating ilagay sa ating comment, but we recommend on how the writer could improve the material para naman hindi rin siya mahirapan sa kanyang pag-redevelop or pag-reconstruct sa kanyang material. Organization. Is there a smooth flow of ideas in the material? Ito yung sinasabi natin kanina. Andun din sa factor 1 o factor 4 ata yun, na dapat yung ideas, the activities, the topics, and the material are synchronized. Dapat magkakaugnay, hindi iba yung topic sa activity. That is the organization. Are the topics logically organized? Is it from simple to complex, concrete to abstract, easy to difficult, known to unknown, chronology, prerequisite learning, whole to part or part to whole? These are the logical organization of a material. These are examples. Pero paano pag nagkakarambol or nagkagulo-gulo yung mga ideas, mga lessons, yung activity nauna sa introduction or the activity is nauna sa generalization. Baliktad. Nauna yung generalization sa activity. Yun yung mga bagay na i-check natin on the content. The organization of the elements ng module or the material. Dapat may logical organization siya. Either simple to complex, concrete to abstract, and others. Thus, the material contain advanced organizers, summaries, evaluation, and other features that facilitate synthesis of learning. Pag wala ito, we should not just say no summary. Dapat ilagay natin na please add summary para hindi masakit sa pakiramdam ng author or ng writer ang ating sinusulat as evaluators. Do the features of the material show agreement and harmony? Same as the organization, the logical organization. Pag walang agreement, let us constructively say na the material needs to be improved as to the organization, as to the harmonization of the lessons and the activities. Ganun po sana. Para the teacher will be encouraged. Haan nga madismaya nga redevelop sa kanyang material. Pero pag ang sagot natin sa mga lahat ng ito is yes, then the material is very, very okay siya for use and reproduction. Accuracy and recency, ito yung paulit-ulit na sinasabi natin na pag obsolete yung information, dapat hindi sana siyang obsolete. Ma'am Kampol, pwede pong paki-end yung presentation para makita yung pinipresent ko po. Jacqueline.
Hello po, Ma'am Jacqueline. Paki-stop po yung presentation natin.
Paki-click mo ka lang ako.
Yes po. Click po yung stop presenting. Ma'am Jackie, pakipress po natin yung monitor ng phone natin, then yung stop presenting. Okay, hello po, Ma'am Jackie, Ma'am Kampon. Ayan.
Wait, ma'am.
Click po yung monitor natin ng cellphone natin. Admin, pwede ba natin i-ano to? Or wala tayong control?
Ma'am, hello ma'am, suggestion po, mag-present na lang po kayo ma'am ulit.
Okay.
Opo,
Sige,
mag-present
sige,
na lang
sige.
po.
Ma'am Sabeth, sige nga, try mo. Present ulit. Okay. Notify po si Ma'am Jacqueline, baka may kakilala po siya dito. I-message po natin. Okay. So, thank you po.
Ayan. Okay, thank you sa suggestion. And, ayan, saan na tayo? Accuracy and recency. Our content, like text, illustrations, activities, and the material accurate. Paano pag hindi accurate yung illustration sa text? Is that a major thing na kailangan i-improve for the development? Ano sa tingin natin as evaluators? Pwede niyo pong i-chat ang iyong sagot. Pag ikaw yung nag-i-evaluate and nakita mo yung text is parang hindi siya accurate as to the illustration, parang hindi siya match, ano ang inyong masasabi as evaluators? Anyone po from the group? Para tingnan natin, sampalan na natin ang inyong mind, evaluating mind, ang inyong mga idea kung paano natin i-evaluate yun. Like for example, the topic is about history. Pero yung illustration na pinapakita is about science. Paano natin yung i-evaluate? Is that bagsak kaya or ano kaya? Ano kaya ang masasabi natin dun? As for example lang natin. Pag iba yung text at yung illustration, is that pass or fail?
Failed siguro ma'am in some instances kasi we all know na pag nakita na nung bata yung images, parang it conveys the title itself na mas lalo na po sa mga grades 1 to 6, much better po siguro na yung the illustration is connected or linked to the title.
So for Ma'am Leia, thank you so much. So according to Ma'am Leia, that is failed. Tama po siya. Dapat i-match natin yung illustration as to text. Minsan kasi may mga, sorry to tell, pero may mga LRs pa din tayong dumadating sa region na iba yung text as to the illustration. Parang hindi siya match. And as regional evaluators, dapat yun yung isa nating tinitingnan. The accuracy of information and dapat synchronize and harmonize yung text and illustrations na nilalagay. And ayan, conceptual errors, factual errors, grammatical errors, typographical errors, conflicting statements. Iba yung sinasabi sa sentence 1 sa sentence 2. Dapat we should check on those things. Ayun, errors in visuals, illustrations, photos, graphs, charts, etc. And then sa ating contextualization din, dapat yung mga pictures na nilalagay is localized para masabi din natin na contextualized yung material. Yun yung isa nating chine-check, the photos to use. Minsan yung mga nilalagay na photos is photos from other countries na hindi naman related sa ating country na dinidiscuss sa topic. Yun yung isa sa ating dapat chine-check. That's accuracy and recency. Are the examples provided realistic? Pag hindi realistic, needs improvement yung material. Comment natin constructively. Paulit-ulit kong sinasabi yung constructively para pag binasa ng author or ng writer yung material, yung comment natin, hindi masyadong masakit. We say our comments and recommendations in a nice way. Are the content up to date? For example, statistics should not be more than 5 years old. Ayan, yun yung recency. Dapat up to date yung information or yung content ng ating material. Appropriateness. Is the content of the material appropriate to local situations? Ability of the learners at the particular grade level. Pag yes ang sagot natin dito, pasado yung material. Pero pag may kaunting minor error or minor correction, we can correct naman. Pero pag major talaga, ibalik na natin yung material. Are activities engaging and interesting to the learners? Or yung material that puro text, walang illustration na pwede nating sabihin na nag-i-elicit ng interest ng ating learners. Baka yung material natin is puro text, maboring yung mga learners natin. Pag ganun yung material, siguro kailangan nating i-recommend na it needs improvement. Lagyan ng illustrations, photos, gano'n. Is there a variety of activities and exercises to suit the different intelligences and learning styles of learners? We all know na our learners have different learning styles. Kaya dapat in the activities, sa module na chine-check natin, varied yung activities na nilalagay. Are the objectives attainable? Na-attain ba sa mga activities yung nilagay na objective? Pag hindi, as evaluator, pag hindi siya attainable, na-attain, we should recommend na focus on the objectives. I-recommend natin na dapat ma-attain yung objective through the activities na nilagay na sa material. Are the suggested materials easily available? Pag yes, pasado yung material. Like, parang itong number 5 na to is parang yung sinabi kanina sa TLE na paano pag walang ref sa locality. Siguro maglagay tayo ng illustrations and photos para parang nakikita na rin nila yung parts ng refrigerator, like that. Ganun siguro ang ating pag-recommend sa material. For the learners na hindi nakaka-access sa material na nilagay natin sa module or in the activities. Are suggested strategies practical, challenging, and stimulating? Same as the engaging part? Are the tests properly constructed? Useful in evaluating learning outcomes? And congruent with the objectives? Is it easy to difficult type? Or, ayun, parang accuracy din ng pag-construct natin pag-construct nila ng activities. Itong mga factor na ito, details na ito ang kailangan din natin i-check sa ating pag-evaluate ng material. Sensitivity. Are all aspects of the material acceptable to significant groups, parents, teachers, students, or other stakeholders? Sensitive ba ang material sa parents, sa teachers? Yung parang example is yung module na hindi naman tayo ang Buti na lang hindi tayo ang gumawa yung Zambales issue. Medyo hindi sensitive ata yung ginamit na names, kaya medyo nagkaroon ng issue na naman doon. Yun yung mga things na kailangan natin i-consider. Is the material mindful or mindful of cultural biases? Does it avoid sexism or racism, regionalism? Dapat balance yung mga topics na nilalagay, yung mga lessons, yung mga wordings, words pa nga nagkakaroon na tayo ng issue. Like, yung sinabi ko kanina, yung module na ginawa sa Zambales ng isang private organizations na akala nila tayo ang gumawa, pangalan lang pala ng mga, yung names lang pala ang issue doon. Parang may issue on sex, something like that. Yun yung mga dapat as evaluators, tinitingnan natin. Yung mga ginagamit na pangalan and mga situations siguro. We should be sensitive on those things, religion, sa mga cultural practices. Iwasan natin sana na magkaroon ng mga hindi magandang pag-construct ng examples on those things, in these areas. Kasi mga Pilipino masyadong sensitive. And this part is kailangan talaga natin i-check sa ating mga materials as evaluators. Is it mindful of disability, geography, religion? Pag nagbanggit tayo ng religion, dapat hindi siya masyadong vulgar or in other things. In cases that we found out na may mga issues and sensitivity, i-comment na lang natin sa ating tool or sa material. Like, please observe, be sensitive with the topic on, ganun. Restate, ganun ang ating recommendations. Are controversial issues addressed fairly, objectively, and within the level of learnings? Ayan. Comprehensiveness. Are relevant learning competencies adequately covered? Na-cover ba lahat yung competency needed for the particular subject? Are the concepts avoid misconceptions? Hindi ba nami-misconcept yung ating mga learners sa mga activities na ginagawa natin? And balance. Balance in the aspect of gender, the domains of learning, and in the locale of the learning. But we have a fair treatment sa ating discussions on such matters. Readability and presentation. This is are the concepts presented in a clear, ayan yun yung organization natin kanina. Is the format of the material helpful in understanding the content? Yes, lahat ang sagot natin dito, perfect yung material. And is the design attractive? Is the print size and font type used appropriate and legible? Is the material handy for daily use? Ito yung mga factors na kailangan nating consider as evaluators. And as a basis or for the standards, let us check on the original Memorandum 90 and 91. Andun po yung format ng ating mga materials, ang ating modules. The most ay itong materials na to, mga modules na to ang kinokorek natin. Ini-evaluate natin, I mean. And how can we say that in the material, minor ang corrections or major? pagkaunting error lamang ang ating nakikita, like 25% of the whole material have a typographical error na kaunti lamang, like on the spelling, the punctuation. So that is minor, na pwede na natin directly i-correct on the material. At least 25% sana ng errors. Pero pag beyond that, parang most every page na lang ay may typographical error, that material needs improvement for the development. The layout is sa margin, spacing, pagination. And on the major, ito na yung content, illustration, IP, and those things are the major corrections that needs to be improved. Pag yung content hindi align sa competency, pag yung illustration hindi align sa content, and pag yung copyright, gumamit siya ng picture na hindi niya sinite, that is a major copyright issue. Yun yung isang issue natin sa ating ADM module, sa ating SLMs, sa copyright. Kaya medyo binlock yung ating pag-print ng modules na iyon because it has copyright issues. And I just want to share yung present ni Ma'am Rosita and Sir Teng about the anatomy ng ating SLMs. This part, yung sa may araw-araw is the central office initiated, which contains the 14 elements. Pero sa ating locally developed, meron siyang 15. At sa front matter lamang nagkakaiba ang ating locally developed sa central office initiated. Sa ating front matter lang. All the other parts, same na same po ang kanilang element. Na-present na po yan ni Ma'am Rosita kanina. And ito yung front cover ng ating locally developed versus the central office para hindi po tayo malito pag may naibigay sa atin na material. Pag may grade level identifier, central office initiated na po siya. Pero pag wala, it is locally developed. So ayan, with that, parang marami na akong nasabi and thank you so much. I hope na may natutunan po tayo and medyo na liwanagan tayo kung paano natin gamitin yung ating evaluation tool na ito. Ayan. Ma'am Jonna?
Yes, Ma'am Sabeth? Naririnig ba ako? Okay. Yes, Ma'am Sabeth. Thank you for your sharings. Ayan, medyo we hope na naliwanagan na tayo as to yung ating LR evaluation tools. Ano po, unless you have more questions or clarifications, check po natin sa chat natin.
Yes, Ma'am Jonna. Ma'am, may I ask a question, query?
Yes po. Ma'am Coresma, sige po.
Yes, ma'am. I just would like to ask a query with regards to the use of pictures, no, on the on contextualization. Now, my question is: are the developers allowed to use real pictures in the modules? Real, like for instance, they're going to describe the school, they're going to use the picture of their own school. Hello po.
Ma'am Sabeth. Ma'am Sabeth?
Yes, Ma'am Maribeth. Pwede po natin siyang gamitin as long as we properly cited kung sino yung kumuha ng picture sa ating reference. Ganun po yan. Like, for example, picture ng school.
So, real pictures.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So, like, for example, a real picture of a teacher, can they be used or can the developer be allowed to use that picture?
Yes, ma'am. As long as the teacher na napicturean natin agreed na gagamitin natin yung picture niya sa ating material, meron siyang consent. and it is properly cited sa ating reference. Ang ating pag-cite is like, for example, photo of teacher blah blah taken on. Mga ganun ang ating pag-cite. Nasa Chicago Manual of Style po natin yun.
Ay, okay.
Yes,
Thank you, ma'am.
Sige po.
Pagbata, tuloy mo. Kapag bata ko kunin.
Yes, si Ma'am Claire may gustong idagdag. Ayan, pagbata po, kailangan talaga no with consent or waiver ng ating parents. Ano po? Oo. Kasi, di ba, may mga instances na yung group pictures ng mga learners, nilalagay natin siya. We see to it po na may waiver or consent din po yung ating mga parents. Ano po?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, noted po. Thank you po.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ma'am Beth. Okay, do we have more from the group? More questions po? Ayan. Ito from Sir Sydney. Sa Baguio Division po, yung cover page ng SLMs or may violator at grade level identifier. Pag isasubmit po ba for QA sa region, dapat i-follow yung region format ng cover page. Ayan, ito yung isa naming na-raise na concern no, when we had a meeting. But Ma'am Sabeth, can you...
I think we should follow ang ating, yung wala siyang grade level identifier because yun yung trademark ng ating central office initiated materials. Sa ating locally developed, based sa ating regional memo 91, wala po siyang nakalagay na identifier. Plain lamang po siya at ang grade level is nailagay sa baba ng title, sa baba ng lesson title. Ma'am Rosita?
Yes, yes. That's it. So to determine the grade level, meron naman dito sa locally developed. So below the title of the below this nature of biology, meron naman dyan yung grade level. So doon natin makikita kung anong grade level yan. Pero sa central office initiated, wala na doon yung grade level kasi nandoon sa may background na red. So that is also one way of distinguishing for us evaluators, the locally as well as the CO initiated. So thank you.
Sir Sydney, okay na po ba tayo doon? Ayan, so let's move on from Ma'am Leia. Is it necessary po ba ma'am na ilagay yung URL ng mga images sa part na nagamit below the pic or pwede nang sa reference sheet na lang po? Ma'am Sabeth?
Based sa ating Chicago Manual of Style, okay lang Ma'am Leia na ilagay natin siya sa reference. As long as ilagay natin yung description or yung title ng photo. For example, nagpicture tayo ng isang coconut. Sa ating reference, ilagay natin na photo of or pag kinuha natin yun sa isang website, merong nakalagay doon na picture. Yun yung i-copy natin as
Hello, Ma'am Sabeth. Yan, mukhang may problem ulit sa connection si Ma'am, no? Ayan, pwede, according to Ma'am Sabeth naman, is a reference sheet, no? Okay, so anyway, we'll get back to her later pag okay na yung kanyang connection. Ayan. Next from Ma'am Jen.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Ay, biglang agin.
Oh, Ma'am Sabeth, Gusto mong ulitin? Sige.
Ayan, okay na.
Okay na. So final, sa reference sheet ba ilalagay or is it okay na nandoon siya sa picture mismo?
Mas
Both
maganda,
pwede?
as to, pwedeng both, pero as to layout kasi and as to presentation, mas magandang sa reference na lang natin ilagay para hindi rin ma-distract ang ating learners pag tinitingnan yung photos. Ano to baka ibagada?
Sige.
As long as talagang sa ating referencing, finalo natin ang proper citing ng photo. Yung sinabi ko nga kanina, dapat andun yung description ng photo and the URL kung saan natin kinuha yung picture.
Thank you po, Ma'am Elizabeth. Dito po kasi, Ma'am, sa LR namin sa Tabuk City Division, they are telling us na ilagay daw yung mga URL or your link just below the picture. So, yung may confusion po on our part as developers and evaluators po.
Napansin ko rin yun, ma'am. Kaya pag nag-i-evaluate ako, parang sinasuggest ko na mas magandang it is better na ilagay na lang natin sa reference.
Yes, ma'am, kasi magulo din, ma'am, kapag nandun yung link sa mismong baba ng photo.
Yes, ma'am. Tama po.
Salamat po, ma'am.
ng presentation and layout.
Sige po, ma'am. Salamat po.
Ma'am Jonah?
Yes, Sir Sydney. May follow-up ka? Yes,
Yes, ma'am. Sa Kwan din kasi, yung binigay sa amin na ADM guidelines, ang nakalagay kasi doon, illustrations and images, dapat daw po naka-in-text citation siya or in-text image citation within that same page of the illustration. Ganon din po kasi yung nakalagay sa ADM guidelines.
Okay. Ma'am Sabet, ayan. Ang importante siguro hindi siya mawala sa reference. Ano po?
Oo. Tama, Ma'am Jonah. As long as na properly cite natin sa reference.
Pero kung may specific tayo talaga na in-text siya doon sa images, pwede. Pero kung meron namang condition na pwedeng wala, importante nasa referencing siya. Ayun. Sige. Okay.
Hello,
Sir
Ma'am Jonah.
Yes po. Oo. Ma'am Pamon, yes?
Yes. Ma'am, what if a picture is taken from a public signage or probably from a bulletin board posted or etc.? Is it all right to just acknowledge the one who took the pictures, not the one who are the source of those information or those pictures po?
Okay. From the LR, Ma'am Sabeth or Ma'am Rose? Okay, so yung question ni Ma'am Dolores is, what if yung image daw is taken from a bulletin board ng halimbawa DepEd? Halimbawa lang, no? Okay, so nakita siya sa division bulletin board. May someone na nag-take ng photo. Kailangan ba yung nag-take ng photo lang ang ilalagay or kailangan pa rin ng permission from the source ng data? Ayun ba, ma'am, yung tanong ni Ma'am Dolores?
Yes, Ma'am Jonah, thank you.
Yes po. Ma'am Sabeth or Ma'am
Hello.
Rose? Sige po, ma'am.
Hello, cases such those. What is important is we are going to write the taker of the photo, cite the place and the date or the exact date in taking the pictures, ma'am.
Okay, so acknowledge where the photo was taken and then when the photo was taken. Yan po ba, Ma'am Rose?
Since that is for public, but for in cases such private, then we have also to ask permission. For example, residential house or some other private owned signages, ma'am. But for public, yung nasabi natin ay yung exact date. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Do we have from our participants to ask? Okay. Habang nag-iisip tayo, may mga questions tayo dito sa ating chat pane na mga unsettled pa. Okay. From Ma'am Jen Pinlac, ito kanina no, na ano natin. Clarifications lang po kung allowed po ba na ang gawin ng developer ay picture niya as demonstrator ng skills ang nasa module and may demonstration picture din ang anak niya. Ay.
Bakit may anak?
Ayan, kasama si Junaki siguro, Ma'am Sabeth. Ano bang kailangang i-prepare doon? Is it okay to have personal photos? Or Ma'am Rose?
Pwede pa rin Ma'am Jonah, as long as merong waiver and consent yung napicturan and yung pati yung bata. Parents consent like that. And waiver ng napicturan.
Oo. So siya mismo, no?
Yes, siya mismo nag-selfie.
Kaya kung siya mismo, that means she permitted. She is the developer. But if others, that is the time siguro that they are going to ask permission. Kasi siya, gusto niyang siya ang nandoon pa rin. Kaya no problem naman doon.
Okay. So yan. More questions from the chat pane. Habang nag-iisip po yung iba, mas maganda sana kung may magtanong na verbally from the group.
Ma'am Jonah, reminder lang siguro, pag gumamit tayo ng picture ng mga bata, as much as possible, sana iwasan natin because meron yung parang law ata yun, hindi ko namutan ko.
Under dole po yata yun, ma'am.
Oo. Na pag pinipicturean natin yung mga bata. Oo. Meron...
Pwede sigurong mag-picture ng bata, pero parang covered yung face, something like that, no? May ibang ginagawa po nila.
Meron yun oo. Thank you, Ma'am Leia.
Ma'am Sabeth.
Daniel.
As per experience also, sa pag-picture ba at paggamit ng mga bata, as to research and dito sa LRs, tama yung sinabi ni Ma'am Leia na let's be very careful at yung sabi ni Ma'am Sabeth, let's be very careful and as much as possible, we should not expose the face of the learners. Gamit tayo ngayon ng anong pwedeng pantakip na mga smiley faces doon sa mukha ng bata.
Parang sensor.
Even if with the parent consent, it is safest pa rin, natakpan pa rin yung mukha ng bata. Ayun.
Okay, follow up in relation to that from Ma'am Cindy. Regarding pictures of students, do we have a template po with regards to the consent form, Ma'am Sabeth? Or Ma'am Rose?
Yes, Ma'am, meron po. Pag Ma'am Cindy, pag kailangan niyo po, i-contact niyo lamang kami or yung division LR ninyo at bibigyan kayo, Ma'am, ng form.
Thank you, Ma'am. Do we have to attach that also to the module, yung template na yun, na napirmahan ng parents?
Hindi naman, Ma'am. Hindi siya requirement. Pero pag check natin as evaluators, kailangan nilang ipakita. Parang proof na merong consent.
Okay, Ma'am. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so that is for LR file siguro, no? Okay, so another question from Ma'am Garcia. Ano po ang mauuna? Content references or cover/photo references?
Usually, Ma'am, sa ating referencing, we are alphabetically arranging yung ating references. Kaya okay lang na mix-mix siya as long as naka-alphabetical siya para pag connect natin sa material, sa content, mas madali nating hanapin kung ano yung nasa references. Alphabetical na lang, Ma'am. Thank you po.
Okay. Do we have more questions from the participants? Kasi wala na po ako makita dito sa ating chat pane. Unless lang may na-miss tayo. We are on time, no? So 11:31 should be our forum and medyo nag-advance na tayo. But anyway, kung may mga questions pa tayo, we are open for your questions or for your queries. Ano po?
Okay, Ma'am Jonah, may we come in?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am Rose?
Hello po, since this is really concerning of our evaluation, and I noticed that some of the LR division LR focals are there. May we agree and may we make clear on our process flow on the evaluation of learning resources. The participants actually today that we identified are regional evaluators. So I hope that each division also have developed their teams as regional evaluators. Kaya they will be tapped in our office that they are going to evaluate those materials that are coming from the SDOs. So this is now the process flow. May you allow me to present our process flow? Though we have we floated this one in RN 229, but we will just try to go over. So this is now the process flow of the meron dyan, Ma'am Beth, nakikita? This
Yes,
one.
ma'am,
So
yes.
we try to go over this one. So as we agreed that for locally developed learning resources, the SDO are going to submit monthly in soft copies as we agreed because of our situation this time. So the soft copies will be sent through LRMDS helpdesk.depedcar@gmail.com. Kasi kung pupunta sa CLMD or in our personal, sometimes it might be we miss some. So sa LRMDS, may nakatutok dito na nag-monitor dito. Si Sir Kermit, our ADAS co. And we said that we are going to align from milk. So we reiterated this one that it's no longer the Western competencies, but the milk align. But prior to submission to the regional office, since we are having this agreement or capacity building, you are going to attach the evaluation tool, the soft copies. We will be sending to you the contextualized in our region, the Excel form of our 7.6 evaluation tool, so that if you are going to send in the regional office, the materials that were developed as well as the evaluation tool must be intact with those. Because we also made an agreement here that without the evaluation tool, we are going to send it back to the SDOs. Kaya sayang yung oras sa pagbabalik na imbis na magamit na yung LRs. So, we will be doing the initial review in our LRMDS team. If meet the standards, basing on those that we have discussed, the specification in the standards, in our initial review, our MAMBET will distribute it to our regional evaluators. Kaya nandito yung mga EPs. And itong mga EPs, the different learning specialists in the CLMD will distribute to the teams. Kayo na yon, yung mga nakapili ngayon, yung mga nag-workshop ngayon, that you are going to help us in evaluating those. So what you are going to assist there is on the factor 1, factor 2, and factor 4. In terms of the standards, kami na yun, kami na ang mag-evaluate doon sa standards. Kaya, you will be divided accordingly to your learning areas that you have applied or to your specializations. So, if we are going to see what learning area of the learning materials that were submitted here, we are going to give it to the regional supervisors, and then the regional supervisors will give it also to you, or you are going to work together in quality assuring of those content, except for factor 3 ba yun, Ma'am Beth, yung sa akin? Except for factor 3 yung sa standard. And we are going to apply those writing of comments within the material itself and in the evaluation tool. Factor 2 pala sa LR. And then you give it back to the regional supervisors for the final review before they are going to send it back to us. If we are going to review finally that you meet the standard, then we will move to the next process that was mentioned by Ma'am Beth, that we are going to send it back to the SDOs for uploading. But if there are some redevelopment, then we are going to write it on the LRMDS. And we are also having a proposal that those that are not being uploaded in our LR portal, we will be having a regional menu that we are going to have it here, so that we are going to share some of our resources developed within our region. So katulad nung may ginawa ng mga ABRA, pwedeng gumamit ng mga ibang divisions within our region. Because there are some that could not pass the LR portals, but it is still usable within our context. So if it will be returned to the SDOs for redevelopment by the developer, we go back to the same process. So the SDO again will review, and then if we pass the standard, send it to the regional office, and then we will do the inventory. We give it again to the learning area specialist for the content, and then yung mga na-identify ngayon, you are going to work with those area supervisors, and then back to us for final evaluation, and then ready back to the SDO for uploading, and we will be the one to publish in our LR portal if it is for the LR portal. But if not, then we are going to publish it in our local portals that we are proposing to create. So, would that be clear to us? Tapnuhan na sayang that you are going to submit to us without the evaluation tool, and then we will be sending it back to you. We might be consuming some of the days. We might not meet those monthly submission. So for the sake of our LR in the SDOs. So thank you. Unless there are some other clarifications po.
Okay.
Ma'am Jonah.
Thank you. Yes, Ma'am Leia. Yes po.
Ma'am, may confusion po kasi kami dun sa mail po ng PLA actually po, ma'am. Kasi yung galing po kasi sa central office is more on automotive po. Yung ibang exploratory po is automotive, ma'am. And here in Tabuk City, isang school lang po yung nag-offer ng automotive. Is it possible na in 7 and 8 we still develop po yung exploratory course ng automotive?
Ayan. Meron tayo, alam ko meron tayong yung previous na ginagamit natin last year, previous years natin, yung for grade 7 exploratory. Meron tayong automotive, automotive servicing, grade 7 or 8. Ngayon, looking into yung content niya kasi, yung iba, pero hindi ko na browse actually yan, pero looking into some na mga exploratory courses, almost the same. Andun yung tools, yung mga common competencies natin, like tools, calculation and measurement, hazard and safety.
Dun kasi sa MELS, ma'am, parang ang complicated naman masyado, parang pang for grade 11 na kasi yung competency na nakalagay dun, ma'am. So may confusion po yung magde-develop na for exploratory. Kaya nag-focus na lang siya, ma'am, sa grades 11 and 12.
Okay. Kasi yung ating MELC ay talagang we strictly need to follow that, no? Unless lang na talagang walang MELC, then we follow the CG 2016.
Okay po.
Okay, so kasi our is they are aligning naman sa ating training regulation, kasi I heard na nagkaroon ng doon sa TR ng automotive, kaya actually medyo hindi ako kampante pa sa automotive, kasi I heard from Sir Mariacos, nandito siya ngayon, na meron talagang update ang TR ng automotive servicing NC2. Okay. However, when we raise it on sa central office, doon sa in charge, we have to follow protocol daw, so we have to wait for guideline from them, no? I asked permission if we could follow na yung TR na bago from TESDA, pero yun naman po, sabi ko sana kung internal arrangement lang para naman hindi masayang yung effort ni teacher, pero still ang sabi po is we have to follow protocol, na we have to follow guideline from DepEd. Okay, so strictly kung ano po yung nasa notes natin, we have to follow po.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes po. Okay. So do we have more questions from the group? Remember po, after this, you will start doing the QA process. Kaya pag may mga tanong tayo, you ask now po para at least naman once na binigyan na tayo ng module for QA, medyo, ayan, klaro na sa atin yung mga kailangan nating tignan. Ano po? Ayan. Meron akong hinihintay na magtanong about this one, pero wala akong makita pa na nag-ask, no? Yung part kasi nung una, actually, doon ako hirap. Sige, habang yung iba nag-iisip, let me just share, no, from my experiences ng TLE. Ito yung part na to doon sa, hindi ko alam kung anong part yon, Ma'am Sabeth, yung may values, traits. Di ba kailangan ng 8 out of 12 ba yon na traits, Ma'am Sabeth? Ang kailangan natin na makita daw is 8. Tama?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. To pass that part, medyo dito ako nakakonsensya kasi kahit hindi ko nakikita, parang sige na nga kasi. Oo. Although, ayan.
Ito yung number 5, ma'am.
Ayan, ito. Kailangan natin ng 8, tama? Para pumasa yung part na yan, 8 out of 12. No? Na values or traits natin ang kailangan na i-check. Dito medyo hirap ako mag-isip kung alin dito ang i-check ko dahil pag binabalikan ko yung mga modules, parang hindi masyadong nabibigyan ng emphasis tong part na to, no? Although given na siya implied, no, na honesty is one, dahil yun nga yung ini-instill natin sa module, pero parang hindi natin siya masyadong makita minsan sa module natin. Kasi kung titignan natin, ito ay naka-align din siya sa ating objective. Remember, sa objective natin, meron tayong CPA, cognitive, psychomotor, at saka affective. More on cognitive yung nakikita natin sa mga objectives natin. Minsan, hindi natin masyadong nabibigyan ng emphasis si psychomotor at saka si affective domain. Ito yung pinicheck ko din sa mga kasama natin na writers. Lalong-lalo na ito sa itong part na to sa values at saka traits kasi 8 ang dami out of 12. So dito ako nag-iisip minsan alin kaya dito ang nakikita ko. Kumbaga parang implied na lang na meron kahit hindi masyadong visible, no? Okay. So ito, siguro we give emphasis ito sa objective pa lang at saka sa ating instruction or even doon sa kanilang makita natin, no? Kahit simple sa instruction, ilagay natin kung ano yung ine-expect dapat na makita, no? Like for example, sa objective pa lang, develop traits such as kung anong specific traits na gusto natin or nakikita natin, no, for our learners while they accomplish the tasks. Okay, like for example, develop traits such as desire for excellence, ganon, kasi kailangan natin ng 8, no, so dapat may ipakita si 8. Anong tawag dyan? Critical and creative thinking, although given na kasi siya productive work in others, in accomplishing yung ating cognitive at saka yung psychomotor domain objective. So if we could specify kasi yun yung hinahanap ng tool natin, no? Okay, and then ilalagay na natin siya doon sa ating instruction. Like for example, itong sabihin natin productive work, ganon. Or kung iba pa, marami namang iba pa, no, na pwede nating ipakita na traits as applicable kasi nakalagay dyan. So you have here, ito halimbawa, ability to write, to know right from wrong. Ayan, although given na siya sa situational analysis natin. Ano pa, yung ating desire for excellence. Or quality work. No? Yung quality work. Ito, di ba minsan sa instruction natin, you make an output of quality na neat or nasa rubrics, no? Pwede na siyang ilagay sa rubrics, lalong-lalo na sa application part. Ito, productive work is one na pwede natin makita. So it may either be, ilagay natin siya sa rubrics, ilagay natin siya sa instruction, if not doon mismo sa ating integrated siya doon sa ating lesson kasi meron tayong cross integration no ng ating values, no? So pwede natin siyang integrate sa lesson kung wala sa lesson, sa instruction or doon sa performance rubrics natin. Okay? So ayan. Kung ma-specify natin sa objective, better kasi yun yung isang proof natin, no? Isang MOV natin na nandoon siya makikita. Pero dapat makita rin siya doon sa loob ng module natin. Kasi ito medyo nahihirapan ako, 8 kasi ang hinihingi ng ating tool.
Sa tulan ng
Ayan. So, pwede nating ilagay critically, creatively, ganun siya. No? So, pag nakita na natin siya doon, so that means, nandoon. Nandun yung critical at saka creative na thinking, desire to learn new things, pwede natin siyang ilagay. Okay? Ano pa yung pwede nating i-embed doon sa mga to? Ano po? Okay? So, ayan yung isa na medyo hindi nabibigyan ng emphasis pero medyo mabigat. Sa pag ako nag-QA, medyo napapaisip din ako sa part na to. Ang iniisip ko na nga lang, ito lang, kung ito lang naman ang sige na nga. Parang ganun siya. Okay? Pero sayang naman, no, yung value and traits talaga na supposedly madi-develop dapat. Okay? So yan. Ma'am, 8 po ba talaga? Kasi sabi naman niya, only those applicable. Okay. Ma'am, Ma'am Sabeth, kasi yung sa original, is it the new one na tool? Kasi sa original 8, naka-specify na 8. Ma'am Sabeth? Kasi may question si Sir Sidney dito. Sa previous kasi, nakita ko 8 ang nakalagay. Is it the new tool na as applicable na lang siya? Ma'am Sabeth? Hindi ba siya
Excuse me, Ma'am Jonah, where did you get that rule that there must be 8? Because here, there is no such number that there must be 8. As it says naman here, put a check mark only to the applicable value. So, not necessarily naman siguro na 8. Depende on the different topics, on the material, on the learning areas.
Kasi yung
may I know if, where did you get that 8 so that we are going to research? Because in the LR today, walang na-mention na specific number ko.
Yes, ma'am, oo. Siguro yung mga old, I don't know if that's the, sige ma'am, I'll try to browse. Kasi yun yung isa kaya medyo nahihirapan actually ako dito. Talagang binibilang ko yung 8 kaya nag-retain sa isip ko. Yung 8 na number. Ano ba yan?
Okay, so as of the moment, para hindi natin pahirapan yung developer, wala mo na specific number. Until such time that there will be an order from the central office that there must be 8.
8. Okay, so ayan. As applicable na lang siya. Safe na tayo dun, no? Okay, but we have to give emphasis on that sa ating objective. Okay? So ayan. So thank you, Sir Sidney, for raising that.
Ma'am Jonah?
Oo.
Ma'am, ito po yung original na form.
Ay, ito na yun?
Yes, ma'am. Yung from the central office po.
Saan ko nakita yung 8? Sige nga. Ano ba yan? Okay.
Naka-word format, ma'am. Unless merong other materials, ma'am, na i-check na lang natin.
Sige. Okay.
Meron pang others dito, ma'am.
May others pa?
Yun yung bago. Yun yung hindi nadagdag sa Excel format, ma'am. Yung others.
Sige, try ko nga hanapin yun. Talagang hindi ako masatisfied doon.
Sige, ma'am. At i-share mo bukas, ma'am.
Okay. Excuse me, Ma'am Jonah. So while waiting for other questions before we will end, because I noticed that some are already leaving, for the MOL tomorrow, may we assign Baguio kasi marami sila. So for the MOL, may we just have the nationalistic song, the prayer, for the Lirahim, and most especially insights. So assign someone to give the insights. Tomorrow we will focus on non-print. That is why all concerns regarding print matters we are going to raise this time. And we will be having a resource speaker from the central office tomorrow on non-print, which includes the script radio, script writing, videos, because it is also according to needs this time. And we are again encouraged to be developing such radio script as well as videos. Thank you. So back to you, Ma'am Jonah. So Baguio tomorrow.
Okay. Baguio, shall we assign a focal para naman may contact tayo kung sino talaga ang tatawagin natin bukas?
Better po,
Nakita ko
ma'am.
dito.
Sir Sydney.
Sige. Sir Sydney, okay. Na-volunteer ka ni Ma'am Sabet. Please be in charge po. Ikaw yung focal tomorrow para sa Baguio.
Sige ma'am, sige po.
Okay. Thank you. Ayan.
And we would require that for the insights, after, please send it to us through LRMDS, yung written insights po. So, besides na ibabasa nyo during the MOL, you will also send to us the written. Thank you. And meron pa lang tayong daily evaluation. Please post the link. We will do the daily evaluation of our activity. So, Ma'am Beth will be posting in our chat box the link for our evaluation.
Okay.
So, back to you, Ma'am Jonah, to facilitate some more questions if there are.
Yeah. Mukhang wala na po ako nakikita. We have 5 minutes more before 12 o'clock. We're on time. Sige, Ma'am Sabet, paki-post na lang natin yung ating evaluation link. We have 5 minutes po to process yung ating evaluation form. Let's wait po na before we leave para wala tayong babalikan na bukas kasi ito yung isang nagiging problem natin. And then yung mga hindi pa po nag-sign in sa ating attendance, yung link natin still open. Okay, kasi we'll be using that as basis po ng ating certificates later on. Ano po? So please have your complete name. Ayan, sa ating attendance sheet. Okay? Sir Kermit, please update us kung ilan na yung ating sa attendance. Kasi we're supposed to be 105. Oo, para ma-alarm yung hindi pa po nag-fill up ng attendance sheet natin. Okay? Ayan, na-post na po yung ating link for evaluation. Paki-access po natin sa ating chat pane. Yeah. 100 na yung attendance natin. So, merong 5. Yeah. More or less, complete na siya. No? Kasi alam ko may mga iba na nakalista po sa ating memo na hindi umattend. Huh? We hope that they will be part of the participant tomorrow kasi hanggang ito ay 3 days naman siya. So please inform others kasi may mga nakita po ako ng mga names sa memo na hindi po nakalagay, nawala dito ngayon sa ating attendance. Okay, so nasa 100 na po tayo. That's a good number anyway. Pero mas maganda kung talagang as incomplete. Kasi kanina umabot tayo ng mga ganyan na number. Okay? So, ayan, may pahabol si Sir. Sige, habang nag-evaluate po yung iba, sige, I will still, we will still entertain some questions, no? I have query on TVL Agri-Fishery, specifically agri-crop production. We have 2 qualifications under this specialization. We have ACP and ACP. Alin ang alin po. We have the milk of ACP 1, but we do not have in ACP 2, 1 and 2. However, there are similarities of basic and the common competencies under CG 2016. Only the problem is the number of hours and distribution of grade level plotting. And most problem is junior high school offering ACP 1 is preparation for ACP 2. Is this possible, ma'am? Ayan. Yung ating milk pa rin talaga ang ating susundin. No, sir. We stick na to the milk kasi kung may milk na siya, although alam natin na medyo nagkaroon ng rearrangement on some competencies, pero ayun sir, no, kailangan talaga nating sundin pa rin. Anyway, kung may time allotment naman siya sir, siguro wala namang problema, no, may week 1 to pa rin tayo doon sa number of hours, but ito hindi ko kasi to na-browse pa. Honestly, no, yung sa ACP natin, Agri-Crop Production 1 and 2. Ayan. So, same yung basic at saka common competencies. Hindi sir, basta ang i-follow natin is yung milk natin. Okay? Number of hours in distribution, yung hours pa rin po natin, the same pa rin po. We have 40 hours per quarter. Kung siguro naman hindi sumobra yung sa milks natin, no? Minsan pa nga, meron lang 4 na LCs or 1 minsan. Okay? So, ayan. It's already 12 o'clock. We're on time. Exactly on time. Pakipicture na lang po natin yung ating evaluation at any time. You can still access it, no? Okay? So, since wala na po tayong question, we now formally declare that the session for today is now finished, no? Ayan. So, thank you for your participation.
So thank you, and thank you, Ma'am Jonah, for facilitating, for being the host today, and see you tomorrow. See you, dear participants, tomorrow. We will start again at 8:30.
Thank you, Ma'am Jonah.
Sir Jeremy, we can access po the link for the evaluation.
Please try again, ma'am.
Mukhang marami. Sige. Pakipicture na lang
Please
muna.
use your email account kasi ayaw niya kung hindi email.
DepEd email.
DepEd email.
Okay. So that's all for today. See you tomorrow.
Ay, Ma'am Rosita.
Yes po.
Ma'am, yung DepEd email ko po kasi hindi pa na-reset ng ITO namin yung password, so I'm using my personal email.
So Gmail po yan, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Sige, sabihin namin sa quad para you can accept any email.
Okay po, salamat po, ma'am.
Okay, have a good lunch po.
Nalpas. Okay, done na, Ma'am Beth. Congrats, everyone. Tapos na tayo sa isang araw. Ay, bakit hindi nakahantay na kami? Wait,